Chase, you can do a good intro, then we can talk about Darlington for you because, hey, look, it's 17 days away and it's on a Tuesday night, which I think from our perspective, we're pretty excited about that. So, Chase, can you do a introduction for yourself and kind of talk about your history within the sport and, even talk about dirt racing? Because obviously I know you've got a vast array of experience from the dirt market to the asphalt market. So give the guys a little background about yourself and where you came from.
Yeah, so my name's Chase Briscoe. I'm from Mitchell, Indiana. I don't know if you guys know where Indiana University is. Bloomington. I'm about 25 minutes south of that, about an hour and a half south of Indianapolis, and grew up dirt racing. My grandpa started owning sprint cars in 1976. Had a lot of the big names in sprint cars drive for him, whether it was Steve Kinzer, Butler, Vogler. I mean, all the big names in sprint cars drove for my grandpa. And then my dad started racing. He ran for 22 years, won over 200 races. My grandpa as an owner has over 500. So for me, growing up, dirt racing was all I really knew. I never even went to a pavement race till I was probably 11 or 12 years old. And, always would watch NASCAR on the weekends and always felt like that's where I wanted to go because that was the pinnacle of racing in the United States. So straight out of high school, I moved to North Carolina just because obviously that's kind of the hub for everything. And literally slept on a couch for 3 years, would volunteer at different race shops, and somehow convinced this one team I was volunteering for in the ARCA series let me get a test for them, and went did the test and ended up being faster than their two main drivers. And the following year, they put me in the car full time in 2016, and we won the championship in nearly half the races, and that progressed to getting a Ford Performance driver development deal, and started out driving trucks for Brad Keselowski. And then went to Roush and Stewart Haas, and now I drive just strictly for Stewart Haas.
So, Chase, talk a little bit about your season so far. So, obviously, have a win this particular year, and hey, look, you've had a little bit of a break, right? So, talk about how you started the year and what have you been doing to kind of keep yourself active, and how do you prepare for something where you've had a month off?
Yeah, it's definitely new for all of us. I think normally we have our typical off season, but you're going to go back racing. Where this break, we really didn't know when we were going to go back. We knew we would go back at some point, but it was just so odd because we'd started race season. We ran 4 races, had a really good start to the year. We finished top 5, I think, in 3 out of the 4, won one of them. So we've had a good start. We had a lot of really good momentum, and then it obviously stalled out. So now we're really looking forward to getting back to Darlington. And like you guys were saying earlier, it's going to be really odd to go to the racetrack, specifically Darlington, which is probably the most treacherous racetrack we go to, and have no practice, no qualifying, and just go for it, lap one. And it's definitely going to be odd, and it's going to be different. And, that's one thing that we've been doing a lot of is iRacing, is trying to prepare, whether it's on iRacing or even Ford has their own simulator in Concord that will actually be on Wednesday running laps at Darlington. So just trying to be the most prepared we can be, whether it's doing the simulation stuff for my end or even as a team using the dyno, like you guys are saying. That's a huge tool of what we do to make sure, one, our car's going to run, and then also performance-wise, it's going to be where we need it to be.